Hey guys, Dr. Kory here. We are going to go over a simple little thing called the brain-body diagram. Okay, I just had another individual in the streets, talk to me about, this whole COVID thing's got me super scared. I feel healthy, but I'm still very scared. And then I had a conversation the day before, with another gentleman. Then he couldn't understand like why, some people are asymptomatic with this whole COVID thing, and some people, completely puts them in the hospital on a vent. Okay, so the brain-body diagram is the most simplest way that I've been able to put this into perspective for people so they understand their body, how it works, and hopefully put some clarification of why does one person end up on a vent while the other person or a majority of the people are asymptomatic. Okay, so here's a brain-body diagram, as simplest form as possible of how the body works. Okay, so here's your body. I'm a bad drawer, so bear with me, all right? So here's your body. This body is healthy. This body is functioning at 100%, meaning they're thriving, they're vibrant, full of energy, and functioning, okay, at proper function. And when the body does that, obviously the brain controls everything. So right here in this gray matter, not only does it control and house all your thoughts, but it also is communicating with all these organs, all these cells, and having them function. Okay, so brain sits here, runs down the spinal cord then sends out all these nerves to each organ, cell, and tissue of the body, okay? So when that impulse is 100%, you are healthy, you are fighting, you're asymptomatic, you're feeling great, and you have nothing to worry about at that point, okay? Unless you get hit by a car or something crazy like that. But as far as cancers, heart disease, all those things, you're golden, all right? So that is a healthy body. Now the question is, are you, okay? Are you healthy? And the answer is, well, I think I am, Dr. Kory. And we're going to bring this down a little bit further down the path to help you understand there's some things, some assessments, some things like that to do in order to see, is there any kind of precursors to being unhealthy, okay? So let's say you've got headaches. Let's say you've got high blood pressure. Let's say you've got diabetes, anything like that, okay? Then I'm going to say you're not at 100% at that point, right? So maybe you're at 50, maybe you're 90, we just don't know, okay? There's some assessments we can do, which I'll explain here later to help you understand, like get proactive with this, but for right now, we'll just put it into perspective, like we don't know, okay? And if you have symptoms, you're for surely not 100%, all right? So over here, we've got a body that is not working, okay? And what causes the body to not work? And the answer is stress, okay? And stress, people think of automatically like, oh my gosh, finances and all that. Well, yeah, that is one of them, and that's what people are experiencing massively right now with COVID is emotional stress, okay? But stress comes in multiple forms. Thoughts, that's what everybody thinks of. Traumas, which would be things like biomechanics, right? Reverse curve, straight neck, text neck, all those things that you're doing on a day-to-day basis with no focus and just going through life with that, all right? So those are traumas which actually create a stressor onto the system. And then the last one is toxins, massive amount of toxins in the thing, and people think right away, well, am I doing toxins? Pretty much. If you're not eating very clean, more than likely you're creating a inflammatory response in your body, which is eliciting a stress response, okay? So you more than likely are. So when you look at these, the 3 T's, okay? When the 3 T's happen, what does that mean? It starts to put pressure onto the system, okay? So this system now has strain on it. We know literature says, if the vagus nerve has strain on it, that's what leads to, chronic strain, that's what leads to cancers, heart disease, any of those things, okay? So you're stuck in that sympathetic, you're stuck in that fight or flight, you can't get away from the tiger, and your body gets worn down. Very simple, okay? So these 3 T's cause issues, in one issue is even being in the spine. It's like a breaker. If you're in your house, in your fridge, the compressor in your fridge is old and not working like it should. So like an organ, right? Let's say compressor is like maybe your heart or your liver because you've taxed it too much. It then keeps shorting out, and that short goes back to the fuse box and does what? Flips a breaker, okay? Why does a breaker flip? So you don't burn your house up. Same thing happens in the spine, okay? Why does a body start kind of down-regulating that impulse constantly from that organ eventually? Because it's chronic, and it says, hey, let's down-regulate this thing so we can survive, okay? So that's what happens, is it flips the breaker. And the breaker can also flip the other way, okay? If you've got a bad breaker from your control panel in your house, it just is going to keep flipping, even though you've got a healthy, functioning liver. So it works both ways, okay? Same thing in the spine. It works both ways. But what happens is, this guy over here becomes unhealthy. When you have these the stress load on you, become unhealthy, okay? At that point, here's where it starts, okay? At that point, you start to get a organ or a immune system that starts to not work properly, okay? That's what autoimmune disease is. It starts attacking things. It can't function. It's been on chronically, okay? So you start to get lack of function in the immune system, all right? After that, you get a degenerative change, okay? Meaning, like, let's look at the heart. If the heart starts to get, a inflammatory overload, it starts to not work like it should. Heart rate increases, has to pump harder, and then you start to get heart breakdown, okay? That degenerative process is a disease that eventually stops the heart, okay? So very simple. And then what is the last thing? The symptom, okay? The symptom. So eventually your heart says, ooh, I am, AFibing, or I just heard a commercial on AFib. That's what just made me say that. Oh, if you have these symptoms, you may have AFib, you should take this seriously. Well, yeah, you should be on the front end of that and make sure you're doing assessments so don't even get to the point where you have AFib, okay? Or get to the point where you have COVID. So symptoms are the last thing. And this is what our society is focused on. Why? Because you're getting hit with thousands of commercials on, do you have this, you have this, you have this, you have this. If you don't have any of that stuff, you're healthy, right? Just like I had a patient come in, oh, I'm healthy, but yet I'm freaked out about COVID. Okay, well then, are you really healthy, right? So the answer is, do you have any of these? We're focused here so much, okay? Well, as long as I don't have this, then I'm healthy. But yet, that's when society looks at a person that was healthy but died of COVID, an non-event, right? Well, that guy was healthy. He was a healthy 30-year-old and he died of COVID. No, he wasn't healthy, okay? He had something happening here. He might have not had a symptom to judge him based on health, but he had some malfunction, some degenerative change up here that wore his immune system out where he could not fight, okay? Or they're saying, increased the cytokines, meaning he fought, the immune system was so hypersensitive, it fought too much, okay? Why? Because it wasn't healthy. It was malfunctioning. Why? Up here, okay? That's how this works. And that's why if you just chase this, it will never, ever, ever work. And that's why we have this whole pandemic out there, because everybody's walking around without symptoms, and then eventually this COVID thing comes down and just wipes them out, okay? Because they forgot to focus on this part. Like, are you proactive with your health, or are you always reactive once something like this happens, okay? I'm in the proactive health field, all right? That's what my culture is. So we would like to figure out, where are you, okay? There's some assessments you can do. We can do blood draws. We can do HRV, heart rate variability, measure stressors on you. We can do radiographs. We can do hormonal stuff. And we could do whatever we need to do in order to be proactive with it. And the key is you've got to invest in that, okay? You have to invest in those things so that when COVID comes, everything is lining up here and you've been as proactive as you could be, and you go out and you live life with no fear and you don't worry about something like that, okay? So it's very simple. So this is the brain-body diagram. Hopefully it's impacted your life in some way, at least to get you to think a little bit different, okay? Think away from, don't fall into that medical paradigm where we're so focused on this symptom mark right here, that without that you're healthy, but yet the three top killers, cancer, heart disease, strokes, there are no symptoms of that. The first symptom is the widowmaker heart attack. The first symptom is the stroke. The first symptom is the cancer, right? Like, that is the symptoms, okay? So you got to be so proactive ahead of this so that you're not a victim, all right? So hope you learned it. Share it, and be more than happy to welcome you into our clinic, to get you on a good journey and get you focused on where you need to be focused on, proactive health.